So this morning, the title of my sermon, or the title of this sermon, is God Knows Us Better Than We Know Ourselves. I love the new year. I'm a big New Year's resolution kind of fella. I'm a big, do it for 2 weeks, stop, don't feel bad about it at all. Did it for 2 weeks. Next year, 2 more weeks, coming in hot. No, I'm trying to change that, and I've been reading this book, and when I say reading, I mean listening. I've been listening to this book, Atomic Habits, by, who knows? I forgot, I really should know that if I'm going to say it here. But I've been reading this book, and it talked about not setting goals, but looking at your systems that you have in life. Because so often, even when we set goals in the new year, whenever it is in life, right? Whenever we kind of hit, I need this restart button, I'm going to start some new goals. Because when we hit that new goal, then it's like, all right, well, I'm done. When in reality, for myself, I feel like I always fail in my goals or what I try to do is because I don't have good systems. I don't have good, all right, I do this, and this is kind of what I do, and I don't really care about the end goal because I know that I'm doing this. Trying to wake up at 5:30 every day and work out. It's been going okay. I feel like every motivational video ever is like, you're going to feel great after a week of working out. I feel terrible. I don't feel good. I'm tired. My body just hurts a lot. I hate it a ton, but I have to. But I've been spending a lot of time in reflection. A lot of time with the verse, Psalm 139, 23, and 24, search me, God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. See if there is any offensive way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. But sitting in my faith and sitting in my life, all right, Lord, where is my heart? Where is my mind? Where does my mind wander when I am idle, when I am stopped? Where are my actions and my decisions? Am I making good decisions? Am I making you the highest priority in my life? And I like this time. I like this time of reflection, and over my life, I've learned to not go into this time then feeling guilty coming out of it, but feeling motivated. Because I know God loves me, and I know He's ready to use me, and I know that it's okay for me to say, I didn't do this well, but that's okay. Let's move forward with it. And the more that I do this, the more I realize just how much I need God. How weak I am, how little I am, how much it's just like, man, I just need Jesus in my life to do anything. And I'm so happy that for that song this morning of Lord, I Need You. Because, man, I wish that earlier in my life I would have realized that more and more and more that, God, I need you for everything. I need you in my friendships. I need you in my marriage. I need you in my finances. I need you in every part of my life because I am realizing with how much I fail that I can't do this. But God can do this through us. For 2 Corinthians 12:9, it says, but He said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly of my weakness, so that the power of Christ may rest upon me. For your power, or my power, meaning Jesus is talking that example, is made perfect in weakness. The more that I search myself and the more I say, all right, Lord, I'm not good at this, I want to give this to you. I'm not good at maybe I've seen a pattern of this sin, or I've seen a pattern of I have a very addictive personality. And so when it comes to hobbies, I do hobbies for 4 weeks, and I get just so wildly addicted and dip in depth and do tons of research. After 4 weeks, I'm like, okay, move on. So I'm like a 4 out of 10 at a lot of stuff, but I am not very good at a lot of things. I'm just below average. And I find myself of the more that I search myself and say, you know what, I have these weaknesses and I have these spaces to where God, I truly need you, the more faith I start to develop, because the more God starts to work through my weaknesses, the more that he makes my brokenness and my weakness powerful, the more that he starts to show me that this isn't just on me. This life is not just on me. Being a father, not just on me. Being a husband, being a friend, being whatever it is, a pastor, I have to lean into the power of Jesus. I have to lean into what God has for me, and I have to lean into knowing that I am weak and step aside for him to do stuff in my life. I have to. We can see this in a lot of different examples in the Bible. We see this in Moses. Moses had a wild stutter, not a great public speaker at all, but leading hundreds, thousands of people out of Egypt, right? Communicating, went up and talked to God personally and communicating all of that to God's people, to the Israelites. God working through his weakness. Moses thinking, that's the last thing I want to do is public speak with this stutter. God says, no, I have a way better plan for you. Or David, just this small little boy coming into battle and defeating quite the giant in front of him. I'm sure that we've felt like we've had that in life. We just have this giant thing in front of us that we cannot get over. We feel like, man, I am in the midst of this heartache. I'm in the midst of dealing with this sin that I've dealt with for a while. I'm in the midst of dealing with this grief. I'm in the midst of dealing with this hard situation that life has put me in. But man, God is there to work in some amazing ways. Or even with Paul, right? Paul was not a very charismatic guy. In 1 Corinthians, he talks about, I'm not coming here with really crafty words or a really great sermon. I'm just coming here with the truth. And coming there after murdering a bunch of Christians. Of God using these people through their weaknesses. And for us this morning, our part in that, our part is to humble ourselves and to humble our hearts and to humble who we are. And so knowing that this is not us. Me preaching up here or the band is not of their power, but only through Jesus. We have the privilege to do this. Only through Jesus are we going to be able to renew our hearts and our minds in him and to find the peace, joy, love, patience, self-control, all the fruits of the Spirit in our life. It's only through him. And so we have to start humbling our hearts. A great example of this is the verse that I'm going to be going through today, which is Matthew 26, 31 through 35. And so then Jesus told them, "This very night you will all fall away on account of me, for it is written, I will strike the shepherd and the sheep of the flock will be scattered. But all after I have risen, I will go ahead of you in Galilee." Peter replied, so he's talking to all of his disciples, Jesus talking to his disciples. Peter replied, "Even if all fall away on account of you, I will never. Truly I tell you," Jesus answered, "this very night before the rooster crows, you will disown me 3 times. But Peter declared, "Even if I have to die with you, I will never disown you." And all the other disciples said the same. He did. A little overconfident there, Peter. It's so funny I remember when I was younger, I would lose something. I remember losing my phone. And when you lose your phone as a young teen, you think this may be the end of my life as I know it. My parents will be furious. And it wasn't even a cool phone. It flipped open. But I remember so often we find ourselves in these prayers of Lord, if you help me with this, I'm going to do so much more for you. If you help me find my phone, I'll pray every day. I found it. I'm like, peace. But for us, self-confidence is not the same as spiritual strength. And you can see this in Peter. Self-confidence is not spiritual strength because later on in Luke 22, verse 54, it says, then they seized him being Jesus. They led him away and took him into the house of the high priest. Peter followed at a distance. And when some there had kindled a fire in the middle of the courtyard and had sat down together, Peter sat down with them. A servant girl saw him seated there in the firelight. She looked closely at him and said, this man was with him. But he denied it. Woman, I don't know him, he said. A little later, someone else saw him being Peter, and said, you also are one of them. Man, I am not, Peter replied. About an hour later, another asserted, certainly this fellow was with him, for he is Galilean. Peter replied, man, I don't know what you're talking about. Just as he was speaking, the rooster crowed. The Lord turned and looked straight at Peter. Then Peter remembered the words the Lord had spoken to him. Before the rooster crows today, you will disown me 3 times. And he went outside and wept bitterly. Self-confidence is not the same as spiritual strength. Often we try to just kind of white-knuckle it through life. We try to have so much control over so much that we don't have control over. We try so hard to control our kids. We try so hard to control the people around us. We try so hard to all right, if I save this amount of money, I'll be set for life. We try so hard of I have this sin in my life that I want to be gone. I have these habits in my life that I want to be gone. I want to stop drinking so much. I want to stop looking at inappropriate things. I want to stop talking bad about people. I want to stop overeating. And we try so hard. We try to do all these things, listen to 48 different podcasts, listen to Atomic Habits on audiobook. And we try all of these things on our own consistently, and we don't just turn to Jesus. Andy Stanley did a great sermon series called Guardrails. And it was this great series of talking about how we have to have these guardrails, meaning what are on roads, so that we don't fall off. It's not in our own strength. We cannot white-knuckle it through life to try to be a quote-unquote good Christian. Peter only doing it, no, I've got this. His language was, even if I have to die with you, I will never disown you. We cannot do this alone. Our first response needs to be prayer in everything in life. Our first response has to be. We have to set up those guardrails in our life of saying, I'm going to spend this amount of time with God, or I'm going to really study in His Word, or I'm going to give generously, or whatever kind of the spiritual discipline is. It's so important to have those in our life because they are continuing to help us on the correct path. This teaches us that self-reliance leads to failure, while acknowledging our inability to stand on our own leads to dependence on Christ. This is where our faith grows. I find it at times enjoyable to know where I'm weak and where, I need God, because I know and I have more and more faith that God has got me. Every time I say, Lord, I'm really bad at this. I need to give it to you. That's a beautiful thing, because then I have faith and I know, and the more that I do this, the more evidence, because the more God shows up, the more evidence I have to base my faith on, to base my identity on, to base on, I know that I need to lean more and more and more and more into Jesus Christ, because He's going to help me when I'm angry. He's going to help me when I need self-control. He's going to help me to be able to be the man of God that I want to be, because I cannot do it on my own. Philippians 4:6-7, great verse, used all the time, and there's a reason why. I have it tattooed on my leg. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, this part, will guard your hearts and your minds in Jesus Christ. It is through prayer that will guard your hearts and your minds. And it says specifically your hearts and your minds. It doesn't say it'll guard your actions. It doesn't say it'll guard your behaviors. It specifically says it will guard your hearts and your minds. Because this is where all of our behaviors, our actions, our priorities, this is where everything is run from. And this is where we have to start. We have to find our systems. Instead of having a goal of being a better Christian, we should focus on the systems that we have in life. Do we have our systems in place? And it starts with prayer. It's a great podcast I just listened to by John Mark Comer, and he talks about how prayer should be like our daily vitamin instead of our like the larger pill, like the ibuprofen that just takes the pain away. Prayer is like our daily vitamin of keeping us healthy. Prayer is not just a foxhole moment where it's like, Lord, I need you right now. That's okay to pray those prayers, but that shouldn't be our only moment where we're finding our spiritual formation. Are we letting Jesus form us every single day through our systems? All right, Lord, I'm going to wake up and I'm going to pray. I'm going to spend my lunchtime, I'm going to pray. I'm going to spend whatever time it is, I'm just going to sit down with you and pray because I know that I need you, and I know that in every piece I need to seek you, and I need to seek you out bad. He talks about how in prayer often we think of it of the fruit or the amazing thing, the point of it is the outcome of the prayer of like, if Lord, I pray for whatever, and we often think like, the fruit of it is when that prayer is answered. When in reality, it's the process of spending time with Jesus. It's the process of knowing him. It's the process of saying, I want to walk in life with you because that is an opportunity we have. God is not just this distance God that we get to spend eternity with, which it is, but he's also here right now, ready to work with you. And the things that you've held on to for a long time, he's ready to walk with you through the moments that you're going through, the grief that you feel, the pain that you feel, or maybe just the joy. He's there with you if you're in this midst of just so much growth and so much of like, I'm so on fire with God. He's right there and then of like, cool, let's go do some work. Let's go build my kingdom together. Or God is there to, let's go weep together. Let's go sit together because I want to wrap my arms around you in these moments of fear and discomfort and doubt. We need Jesus. Also, Ephesians 4:22 through 24, it says, put off your old self, which belongs to your former manner of life and is corrupt through dysfunctional desires, and to be renewed in the spirit of your minds. And put on the new self, created after the likeness of God in true righteousness and holiness. To be renewed in the spirit of your minds. If you want to make change in your life, you have to spend time with letting God renew your mind. From your mind, your identity is created. And from your identity, then your priorities are there, your behaviors are there, your actions are there. If you truly say, I want to truly be for Jesus, I want to be a disciple, I want to be a follower and not a fan. I want this bad. It has to become your identity. Because when temptation comes, you say, no, I don't do that. I don't give in to that. I don't go out on a Friday night and get drunk because my identity is in Christ. I don't talk poorly about my coworkers, my colleagues, my friends, my family, because I'm in Christ, and that's a brother or sister in God, and I don't know what they're going through. And you start to make these decisions because it's Jesus is who your identity is. Letting him renew your mind. But as we look at this story about Peter, Peter was pretty good at spiritual formation. He gave up everything in life. He walked literally with Jesus, probably one of the better spiritually formed fellas that I can think of. But he really messed it up. At the end of running or being driven by fear more than faith in his life. And man, haven't we all been there. Driven by fear instead of faith. This is where we have to understand that God knows us better than we know ourselves. He knows our human limits. He tried to tell Peter, like, man, Peter, you're going to fail. And I like that Jesus told him before and stated this to everyone of, you're going to fail. This is not a surprise to Jesus. Jesus is trying to say, this doesn't surprise me that you're going to do this. And he doesn't come in here rebuking them or getting them in trouble for a thing that they haven't already done, but saying, this is what you're going to do and it's okay. I mean, sort of. He's not coming into our life, and he knows us better than we even know ourselves, and he's not surprised by it. He knows our human limits. He knows where we're going to fail. He knows the temptations we are going to give in. He knows the deepest and darkest thoughts that we have deep down in there, the deepest and darkest motives that we have, or decisions or things that we have done that we don't want other people to see because we're so afraid of what they would think of who we are. He knows those deepest and darkest pieces of you. And often we try to just continue to push down in there because we don't want to deal with that. We don't want to see that in ourselves. But he knows. And man, he loves you so much, even knowing that. He knows you better than yourself. He loves you so much better. And we have to listen to the one who knows us even better than ourselves instead of listening to all the lies that we listen to in this world. Craig Groeschel did a great sermon and talked about the biggest lies that are told to us. And the people or the person who lies to us the most statistically in life is ourselves. There was this big study done that said that we tell ourselves 10 to hundreds of lies every single day. We listen to our own thoughts and the thoughts that Satan has put in our life, the thoughts that other people have put in our life, more than we listen to Jesus. Peter was doing that. And more of a prideful way of, I got this. This word, this is up to me. I've got this. I'm under control of my life. I'm under control of my addictions. I can stop whenever I want. I don't need help. I don't need therapy. I'm not that angry. Or we go in the other way. If we do this negative talk with ourselves of, man, I'm such an idiot. Anyone been there? Of like, I'm such an idiot. I do it all the time. I have to stop. Or I'm in control. Or maybe we hit moments to where we look in the mirror and say, man, I am so ugly. I feel like I am not enough. I am so alone. I'm so behind in life. I can't get past this sin in life. I can't get past this moment that's haunted me for a long time. I can't get out of this situation. I will never amount to this. We go, and whatever it is, fill in the blank for yourself. Whatever lie we tell ourselves, and we have to stop. I will never get organized. I'll always be lazy. And we start to put ourselves in a box. The more that we tell ourselves something consciously, even if it's through a joke, sarcasm, whatever it is, the more that it will become fact to us. The more that will become, our conscious thoughts become our subconscious thoughts. Our conscious thoughts, if you just continuously call yourself dumb, then the more you're going to believe that you are dumb. The more that you're going to see your perspective you're going to see all the ways that you have messed up and seeing all the way, instead of seeing all the ways that you are actually very smart. Your perspective is going to change and it's going to be adjusted into only seeing that. if you think everyone in the world is against you, if you are finding yourself constantly getting mad at everyone else and it's everyone else's fault, it's because it's the perspective that you have put that everyone else is bad. Jeremiah 17:9, it says, the heart is deceitful above all things, and beyond cure, who can understand it? A quote from the Mindset Mentor podcast said, your conscious mind programs your subconscious mind through repeated thoughts, actions, experiences, turning conscious efforts, like learning to drive, into automatic subconscious habits and beliefs, effectively creating mental programs that run our daily lives. Are you lying to yourself so much and saying all of these negative things that's creating your daily life? You have to stop. I have to stop. We have to start listening to who Jesus, the one who created us, the one who knows us more than we know ourselves. We have to start listening to him, pouring into us and stating the fact of who we are. Because he created us and said we are good. He created us and loves us. He calls us his holy nation, his special possession. He knows all the deepest, darkest things in your life, and he calls you his special possession because he loves you no matter what. And we have to start consciously thinking about who God thinks we are instead of the lies that we tell ourselves. Because God created you to be smart. He created you to be a beautiful human being. He created you to be able to do these things. So instead of putting ourselves in this box of I can't, I won't, we have to stop lying to ourselves because these conscious thoughts are going to become subconscious behaviors. So even every day, if you have to fake it till you make it, of no, today's gonna be a good day. You consciously say this, today's gonna be a good day. I'm gonna do good work with God. Well, God loves me. I am his special possession, and we are going to do amazing things. And see, even if you're not feeling that, even if you're waking up and you're throwing up, I don't know, whatever it is, every day, if you were doing that and speaking truth into your life, see how God transforms your mind. In prayer of saying, Lord, please show me who I am, the identity that I get to have in you, instead of consistently listening to the negative things in our life. And we do that in our faith. There's so many times I've come into this place in the morning, right? And you sit in church and then you reflect on your week and you're like, man, I wish I would have prayed more. Or man, I wish I would have, I really got to start really opening my Bible. Or man, I wish that I would have prayed for that person in the grocery store. Or man, I really got to start pouring into that coworker. Or I really have to stop doing whatever it is that I'm doing that's not producing good faith or good habits in my life. And we think about it and we feel motivated leaving. Monday morning comes around, completely forgot about it at all. We do the same cycle the next Sunday morning. Man, I wish I would have prayed more. And we go through these same things. Anyone else been there? No, just me? Cool. Love it. But we see this faith, and this is not a great way of doing it because it starts to become a transactional relationship with God. We start to get this mindset of when I come to God in prayer, if I feel like I did good enough, I'll feel good about this prayer. If I feel like I've prayed enough, if I've read my Bible enough, then man, I can come to God feeling good. And a lot of people leave the faith because often that doesn't happen. We have to stop creating our relationship with God to be a transactional relationship because it's not. It's not our good works or good deeds that produces the love that Jesus has for us. Jesus already has the love for us. No matter how we come to Jesus, he loves you. No matter how many mistakes you've made, he loves you. No matter what you have done, no matter how many times you've lacked in the reading of his Bible, he loves you. So we have to start coming to Jesus and saying, you know what, Lord, I didn't do these things. I really wish I would have, but I know that I am forgiven in you and that your grace is sufficient. Your failures failures do not discount you from his grace. And I want you to hear that this morning. Your failures do not discount you from his grace. For Peter, at the end of, like when we were talking about how when he denied God, it said he wept. Sure, he wept pretty hard. We're going to go with that. I forgot the word specifically. Knowing this moment of like, oh man, I messed up, and knowing he's so close to God and he knows the weight of sin. But then this is how Jesus, after the failure, after denying him, and that would feel pretty bad. As a human being, if I was going and a bunch of people were coming here to kill me or whatever it is, and I'm making this up on the spot, it's not sounding as good as it did in my head, but here we are. And all of a sudden, if all Tom had to say was that like he knew me and I'd be cool, set free or whatever, and Tom's like, oh, I don't know that guy. That would not feel very good. My dad one time, we were in a movie theater and I was pretty young, and he got a bag of Lemonheads. I don't know why, because who knows? But Lemonheads, really, Scott? Never mind. He opened up a bag of Lemonheads, and all of them, like, he opened it, and the whole bag exploded. And it wasn't like stairs like our movie theater. It was just a nice, like, gradual kind of ramp going down. All of these Lemonheads, we were in such a far back row, were going down, and so many people were, like, looking behind. And then my dad also looked behind. Oh yeah, who did that? Wasn't me. Oh, it was great of like, I don't know that guy. Oh, man. But after Peter completely disowning God, this is how God reacted. When they had finished eating, so Jesus is back with the disciples now. When they'd finished eating, Jesus said to Simon Peter, the son of John, do you love me? Do you love me more than these? Yes, Lord, he said. You know that I love you. Jesus said, feed my sheep. Again, Jesus said, Simon, son of John, do you love me? He answered, yes, Lord. You know that I love you. Jesus said, take care of my sheep. The third time, Peter, which is also his name is Simon, Peter denying him 3 times, Jesus asking him 3 times here. Third time, he said to him, Simon, son of John, which is Peter, do you love me? Peter was hurt because Jesus asked him the 3rd time, do you love me? He said, Lord, you know all things. You know that I love you. Jesus' reaction was saying, all right, do you love me? Peter saying, yes, it's perfect. Let's go do some work. For us, when we feel like we have this big failure, when we feel like, man, I haven't prayed enough, or maybe we have this sin that we've battled for so long, that we've held on to for so long, or we feel like, man, God must be mad at me because I have all of these sins or all of these addictions or all of these things I just keep coming back to over and over and over again. And we create this wall between us and God because we feel like we can't come to him because we have these things. That is Satan. Peter denied him at his hardest moment. And what Jesus says, do you love me? Yes? Cool, let's partner up and let's go do some amazing work. At the end of that conversation, Jesus just says, simply follow me. What we have to do with that is we bring our sin to Jesus. We say, Lord, please forgive me. And then we say, your grace is enough and you have forgiven me. We don't stop at the question like he may not. We have to know, like, all right, cool, amazing. Jesus, you have forgiven me and I am set free. We have to know the power of the cross and the sin that we have hung on to for so long, we have to let go because Jesus is ready to move forward with you. He has forgiven you. He has died so that we don't have to feel so chained down to the guilt and shame of the little things or the big things. He is ready for you to feel the peace and freedom from that because we are free in Jesus Christ because he died and rose 3 days later, defeating Satan, defeating sin, defeating the shame and the guilt that we feel every day. It's time to stop. It's time to stop lying to yourselves and know the amount of love that Jesus has for you, the amount of amazing things that Jesus wants to do in you and with you. Your failures do not discount you from grace, his grace. Philippians 3:13, brothers and sisters, I do not consider myself yet to have taken hold of it, but one thing I do, forgetting what is behind and straining toward what is ahead. I'm going to invite the worship team up. Forgetting what is behind and straining forward from what is ahead. Because Jesus is ready to start this process of renewing your mind and just loving on you every day. In John, it says our work, Jesus says the work that we need to do is to relax into God. Wow, there are so many of you today. If you have held on to a shame or a guilt, or if you've held on to, I'm never going to get past this sin, or I'm never going to be good enough, today is the day to let it go. Jesus is ready to strain forward on what is ahead. He is sick of you focusing on the past. We bring to Jesus our sin. Say, Lord, man, I'm sorry for this. I'm going to turn a 180. I'm going to try my hardest because this is a journey. I'm going to try my hardest to walk with you through this, knowing that you are going to love me every step of the way. When I'm stumbling, when I'm not, you're going to love me and you're going to pick me back up every single time. Forget what is behind you today, church. Sit in the presence of God where he is right here, right now in the present, and move forward. Don't be overconfident and your own strength, knowing that we so need Jesus. Creating those systems of spiritual formation in our life, forgetting the sins we have committed, and pouring and pushing forward and going and feeding his sheep. Today is the day for you to stop being chained down from the things that, man, you have felt burdened from for a long time. Today is the day we step into the presence of Jesus. Please pray with me. God, fill this place with your Holy Spirit. Break down any lie that we've told ourselves, that Satan has told ourselves, or that other people have told ourselves. God, I pray that you would bring your truth, that you would flood our hearts and our minds with your truth into our life, knowing that we are saved through you, that even though we are broken, even though we are weak, even though we have all these things in life, that you make us whole again, that it's your power that's going to work through us, Jesus, that's going to heal us from what we're grieving from, that's going to heal us from the addictions, that's going to heal us from the bad mistakes that we've made in the past. It's you who is going to heal us. So let us be healed, Jesus. Help us to set up systems instead of goals. Systems in our life that are going to help us to become closer to you every day so that we can lean into you and know that you have got us, producing more and more faith every day. In your name, amen. This week, spend some time with God. Time in reflection. Time of having him search you. Not being overconfident in our own power, but letting the power of Jesus work through you this week. Go and stop listening to the lies you tell yourself, but listening to the truth that Jesus has for you every single day. Going and loving his people well. Thank you.